You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Welcome to episode 219 of the Rusted Robot Podcast for Sunday, October 14th, 2018.
You're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast, the number one rated robot-related podcast in northeastern Ontario.
Hey everybody, it's Sean and Josh, the Rusty crew. How's it going today, buddy?
Not bad. I had to get up and do stuff early this morning.
Oh, stuff.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, but yeah, we're up now.
We're up. We're recording. We're ready to bring another week's Geek Report.
Nope.
Are you excited? Are you pumped? Are you ready to go?
Yep, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Good. Me too. Let's get right into it. Let's see. The first thing we should talk about is, you pick. We have so much to talk about.
Well, let's get the depressing out of the way, because I know you love to jump on the depressing.
I don't really love to do it, but we did lose a big icon in the geek world this week. We did lose Herschel from The Walking Dead, also known as actor Scott Wilson. I'll pull up a little mini biography of the guy here, so you know a little bit about him. Died October 6th at the age of 76.
Decent run.
Not bad. So a little mini biography according to IMDb. Scott's fledgling career took off big time after being discovered by director Norman Jewison, who cast him as a murder suspect in the Heat of the Night in 1967, which starred Sidney Poitier and Best Actor Oscar winner Rod Steiger. And if that weren't a sufficient beginning, Wilson immediately followed this with the co-lead role of murderer Richard Hickok in the stark and disturbing In Cold Blood, also in 1967. Although a serious contender, out-and-out stardom did not come about for the quietly handsome, slightly forlorn-looking actor. Major roles in major pictures, however, did. Among Scott's early film work were Castle Keep, The Gypsy Moths, The Grissom Gang, Lolly Madonna XXX, The New Centurions, The Great Gatsby, in which he earned raves as the garage owner who shoots Robert Redford's title character to death. In 1980, he was in The Ninth Configuration, and he received a Golden Globe nomination for that. He was also in The Right Stuff. Hardly one of Hollywood's flashiest good old boys, the taciturn, unassuming actor preferred to remain discreet and let his performances do the talking. His output was minimal compared with other character stars, but he remained in the quality ranks nonetheless, mixing his standard penchant for darker movies with such family-oriented films such as Shiloh in 1996 and its sequels. And, of course, we know him as Herschel from The Walking Dead. And he lived in Los Angeles with his wife of 4 decades, Heavenly, who was an attorney and accomplished artist and writer.
He's had a pretty wide career.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really noticed him or heard of him until, of course, The Walking Dead.
I recognize him from a few things. He was in Judge Dredd. He was the preacher father, Pa Angel. Mm-hmm. He was in Young Guns.
Oh, okay.
And number 2, I think.
Well, there's quite a list of credits that he has. We're not going to read them all, but
yeah. But those are the ones I recognized him from before, right?
Mm-hmm. But he was a great actor. He performed the role of Herschel so amazing. Like, he was such a believable character, and I'd never seen him before. And all of a sudden, here's this old guy on the show, and quality material.
Yep.
And so it's sad to see him go.
It is. Condolences to his family.
Let's talk about something fun.
Okay.
Last night I went to Night Terrors Film Fest #3, episode 2. Is that confusing?
Yes.
Okay, it's the 3rd annual.
Okay.
But it's the second showing.
Second movie to be played. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, because we had Jaws last week, and this week we had The Lost Boys, which, once again, I don't know if I've ever seen from start to finish. And Renee said, "You want to go see the movie?" And I'm like, well, not really, but you know what, I'll go anyway. Because I thought I hated it. It wasn't that bad.
No,
it was fine.
80 cheese and funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's meant to be serious, but it's more funny.
It was more funny. And I'd seen parts of it before, I know, but all the way through, not 100% sure. Didn't have specific memories of the whole story.
So did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was not bad for a midnight showing. This time I didn't take a nap beforehand, so I don't feel like crap today.
Okay.
So that's nice. Have a mini interview with Eddie, who runs the thing.
Okay.
So we'll play that in the show in a little bit. What he did for me, because we're trying to cross-promote each other, he had the trivia before the show started, and I handed out the movie passes for whoever won the trivia contest. He mentioned he had Sheen Button, the radio station guy, mentioned the podcast as a supporter. I wore my Rusted Robot t-shirt in front of all the people, handed out business cards with the winners. So we're doing a little bit of cross-promotion.
All right.
And so we have his interview coming up shortly.
So we got a couple hundred new listeners.
At least. Once again, I saw your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Julie. And I saw Sherry, and of course I saw Sparky from Sparky and Guns. A good turnout. Everybody was wearing, well, not everybody, but most people were wearing their 80s costumes, because I guess that was how you got into the draw for the prize.
Either that, or they just stayed dressed like it was the 80s for 30 years.
That could be. I don't want to judge their fashion choices.
Yeah.
But Sparky was wearing a gold lame leotard-looking top, so I don't think that's his regular outfit, but you never know.
I'm certain he's dressed that way every day since
1986.
Yeah, and a keyboard tie, and parachute pants.
Ooh, yeah, right, yes. Very classy. Yeah. Good looks.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun there. Sorry you couldn't make it.
Yeah, well...
You're probably watching the kids again.
One of us has to stay here and keep the kids alive.
Yep. And since you love your wife, you let her go.
Yeah.
Because she's always working.
Oh, yeah.
Is she working today?
She is working today.
Is that why we can't have innuendos about her and I spending the night together again?
Yes.
Where is she working this day?
She's at Jump City.
What is that?
It's a comics and collectibles shop that you've already mentioned in the podcast so far.
Today?
Yeah.
Have I really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Anyways, you said the Jump City crew.
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. Okay, you're right. Quite correct, sir.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Yeah.
That's our shameless plug of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
Located at 38 Pine Street, North Timmins, Ontario, Canada, Earth.
In the Soul System.
Yes.
Uh-huh. That's where we are.
Of the Milky Way.
Yes. Yes.
Of the local galactic cluster. Of the supercluster. Of the universe. Of the multiverse.
Where else?
Of existence.
Where else could it be? There's only one location of Jump City.
No.
Oh? Are you talking about parallel dimensions?
Because, well, we did say of the multiverse. So there are different options. You could go to alternate realities, where it's a pottery shop.
I do need some pottery for my house.
Okay, well then you just need to go to an alternate dimension where Jump City, located at 38 Pine Street, North Timmins, Ontario, Canada, Earth, is a pottery shop instead.
Do you think in every universe it's located at 38 Pine Street North in Timmins, Ontario?
Well, as there is an infinite number of universes, it's located at every possible location in all of existence.
Ooh, that's confusing.
Well, yes, but there's an infinite number of possibilities, therefore it has to take up infinite number of places, which means it takes up all possible places. Oh. But that's okay, it doesn't take up every possible place, it just takes up all possible places.
See, and I thought it was more like the Highlander, where there could be only one.
Oh, no, there's an
infinite amount.
Yeah.
You know, we also have an infinite amount of... You don't know, and that's not a really good transition, but I do have some Star Trek news for you.
Okay.
So much Star Trek news. All right, well, not really. There's not that much. There's some. The Picard series is set to begin production in April, and they're speculating that it could be released as early as 2020. So that's not too far away. It's far enough, but not horrendous. Star Trek Discovery comes back for Season 2 on January 17th, and the Picard series will not mesh with Discovery, and the Picard series is going to have multiple seasons.
Okay, so...
That's it in a nutshell.
Let's unpack that. So it's not connected to Discovery.
Exactly.
So Discovery stands alone, and this, stays in the main Star Trek timeline?
Yeah, it takes place in 2399.
Yeah, well,
and multiple seasons, and Kurtzman, I believe, in the article that I read, asked the audience at New York Comic Con if they wanted to know who the bad guy was going to be in the series, or the bad guys, and he didn't tell them. He teased it.
Yeah, well, that's just being a dink.
Well, yeah, that's of course.
Yeah, but
you've got to get the hype going.
No, of course.
And
but you don't need bad guys, you just need Picard.
Well, that's right. We'd watch just him flying around in a shuttlecraft talking about stuff.
Well, like his best episodes don't really have enemies.
The
Inner Light, yeah, look at that one.
Yeah. The enemy was climate change.
The enemy was cultural ignorance.
Or that.
Because they knew that climate change was happening, they just didn't want to do anything about it. Instead, let's build a space probe to contain the memories of one person in the future can have our memories.
So then
instead of saving our existence.
So then they won't be forgotten. But of course, Picard never told anybody about the thing. So
no.
That didn't work out so well. So so this is good. They said also in the article that the Star Trek series won't overlap with each other, and there will be a bit of a gap between them, because they were talking about always having Star Trek on All Access, but there's going to be like gaps between the end of one series and the beginning of another to create anticipation and hype.
Oh yeah, you can't run constant.
No,
you'll burn out that way.
That's right. So they don't want to oversaturate the market, I guess. There won't be two shows running at the same time, which is okay.
That's good.
Because they did that with Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and that kind of spelled the end because people got sick of it. I didn't, and I could have watched another 40 years of Star Trek.
I just didn't watch Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Particularly later seasons.
Oh, that's when it got so good.
Yeah, but I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, that's all right. November has another short trek.
Okay.
Have you seen the first one?
No.
Oh, got to get you over to the house to watch it.
Why?
I made sure I taped it so you could see it.
First of all, you taped it?
I did.
You threw it on the VHS?
Nope, I've got a PVR, but I'm always going to call it taping because that's how I grew up. And I love my obsolete technology, and I won't use these newfangled words. Get the F off my lawn.
All right.
I'm just pretending to be an old man today for some reason. Hey,
Pretending?
All right, I'm old. I'm old,
I was going to say,
but I'm not that old.
you're not young.
Well,
We are not in the young category anymore.
no, we're not. We're not.
We are not in the 18 to 30.
True enough.
So we're not young. We're old. Listen to two old men chatter on about nothing.
That sounds like a fun show.
What we're doing.
Okay, you know what we should do? Because we're on the ESO Podcast Network and we play all kinds of different promos for different shows, I should tell you, Josh, that this past week what I did was I updated the end credits for both Rusted Robot and Soulforge podcast, and I created new promos for both shows so that they're more fresh and lively and they're hip and they'll get the young crowd really interested in the old man podcasts.
Yeah.
So why don't we go ahead, we'll play promo for a random show on the ESO network.
Why should I listen to the NerdBliss podcast?
Because we go there.
Where?
Everywhere.
Human sexuality.
They don't care what's in your pants, they love you anyway.
Time travelers.
The problem is time will back with you.
Politics and fandom.
What Star Wars has been prior to Disney. It is a white male-driven universe.
Find us at nerdblisspodcast.com.
And on social media at NerdBliss Pod, part of this complete breakfast and the ESO network.
The NerdBliss Podcast. Listen!
And that was a random show that we played up from the ESO network. And before we started recording, I played the two new promos for Soulforge and Rusted.
Yeah, they're it's still in the raw format. They're not.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the final form. But
No, because that's on my computer at home.
But it sounds good. I think they're good promos.
I appreciate it.
I'll drive more people to here.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes. So speaking of driving people towards your shows, you have Netflix.
I do.
Do you like Netflix?
I do.
Do you like the Marvel Netflix series such as Daredevil?
I do.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Defenders. What do you think about Iron Fist?
I watched one episode of season 2 and
So have
haven't
I.
gone back.
I haven't gone back yet either. But guess what? Season 3 has already been canceled by Netflix.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's not good.
Because in the article that I read, it said that there was a huge quality update over the previous season, but they're not going to continue on with it. This wasn't a Marvel or Disney decision; it was a Netflix decision. So obviously, they haven't got a lot of views on the thing.
Yeah.
Because we binge all that stuff, and we haven't even.
Yeah. So,
episode 1.
like the original one, you slogged your way through it, hoping it's going to be good, and we need him for Defenders.
Yeah.
Defenders comes along, and it's just an extension of his show. It's him at the core of it, and he was not a character to base the core around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right about that. Because nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody cared.
That doesn't mean it's necessarily the end of the character. He could appear in any of the other Netflix shows. I could see him being integral to maybe 3 or 4 episodes of the next Luke Cage series.
You okay? That's weird.
I don't have an answer for that.
That's funny. I said series, and she thought I said Siri. That's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that in because that's just weird.
So he needs to go with Luke Cage. We need to get Heroes for Hire.
Yes.
That's what we need to get. Maybe we'll see that over the transition to the next Luke Cage series.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But you can't focus your stories on more about the hand and the. It's not good. It's not compelling.
I didn't care about the hand.
No. That whole thing had to go away.
They kept slapping you in the face with the hand.
Yeah,
So
and then the new season, the last season wasn't like, oh, that was so good. I'm hyped to see the next one.
I liked it well enough. It was okay. It kept me interested, but I knew it was the least quality series of the 4.
So yeah, it makes sense that they didn't continue it.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Hopefully they keep the other ones going, because I really enjoy the other ones. I'm waiting for Punisher season 2.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Because
that was really excellent.
Yeah.
Season 3 of Daredevil comes out this coming Friday.
Yeah, that's looking good.
That looks good.
Oh, yeah, it's not Friday, eh?
Yeah, like it's less than a week away.
Yeah, it's gonna be jazz. Yeah, it's gonna be jazz.
Yeah, you're excited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Daredevil. Less about the second half of the last season, because it was all about the hand again.
Right.
The hand is terrible. I can't do the hand again.
No.
I'd rather do the foot than the hand.
The Foot Clan. Yeah, let's have a Ninja Turtle crossover.
Well, that's where they come from.
I would watch a live-action Ninja Turtle series on Netflix.
So long as it crossed with the Marvel universe.
Well, yeah, it has to.
Because it's the same goop that got Matt Murdock his superpowers. Gives the Turtles their human forms.
Right, that's true, eh?
That's why it's the Foot Clan, because they're the opposite of the hand.
Is that like in canon?
It's not. So if you read the original comics, the goop blinded a boy who saved an old man by pushing him out of the way before it fell into the sewers. It is the same event.
The Daredevil origin story.
But they never say it's Daredevil.
Okay.
They just say, oh, and he went on to do other things.
Nice.
I hear he's a lawyer now. Right?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, and they're called the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Because the hand, right? They're ninjas. It's the same thing. It's the same accident.
Huh.
So you could put the Ninja Turtles in there.
I would totally watch that. And they take place in New York too. So there we go. Yeah, you're right. I think we've cracked the code. That's fantastic. That would be an excellent movie or Marvel series.
I would like to see Daredevil fight the Foot Clan, because that would be a lot better, because then you got robots that blow up all the place.
Oof, yeah.
And then he's got to fight the Shredder.
And Krang in the belly of the robot host.
I don't know if I do Krang right off the hop.
No, that'd be like
you gotta wait. Krang's definitely Ninja Turtles on their own.
Season 3.
Yeah. Season 3 Ninja Turtles.
So, we both like movies.
We do.
Do you like horror movies? Not a big fan?
I am not a fan of horror specifically.
Okay.
I like the subcategories of horror.
Such as?
So if it's a sci-fi horror, I'll watch it because
Yes.
it's sci-fi, not the horror part.
Do you like the Saw series?
No.
Okay. Because that's horror, I guess, but it's more torture kind of.
That's gore horror. I'm not a really big fan of gore horror.
What about like supernatural things, like Exorcist, Poltergeist, that kind of stuff?
So the possession, psychological thriller, ghost story ones, less so.
Yeah, that's my least favorite, I think.
Supernatural monsters. I'm more into the supernatural monster movies. Give me a vampire, werewolf, something like that. I'm pretty good with those.
Those are good.
Zombie movies are by far one of my favorite of the horror category.
Agreed.
The least favorite is the psychological thriller.
Oh, okay.
Like where it's like, oh, the slow build up of this weird tension because something's is scaring this poor woman in her home and nobody believes her, and that's just a boring movie.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. I think we agree on our horror tastes. You know, a guy who really likes horror films is Eddie Levike. We talked about him as the leader.
Oh yes,
the creator of Night Terrors Film Fest. We had a bit of a talk. And last week we mentioned that I was in contact with him and Samantha, and he did tell me that Samantha is his girlfriend, because I didn't know if it was his wife, his partner, his friend, whatever it was. So, yeah, boyfriend and girlfriend. And he's a really great guy. We had an interesting chat the other night at my house. He came by to talk about Night Terrors. So why don't we go ahead and we'll play the interview right here.
Incoming transmission.
Hey, podcast fans. Breaking into the show here with a special little guest announcement. We've got Eddie Levike from Night Terrors Film Fest. How are you doing today, buddy?
Good. Yourself, Sean?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for coming to my house and talking about your festival.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So, this is the third year that we're in the middle of right now.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me what was it that made you want to do a horror film festival?
Well, in the beginning, the original idea came from, actually back in 2003. I saw Evil Dead for the very first time. And I've been thinking to myself, man, I would love to see this movie in theaters. And ever since that time, I've been telling myself, I got to go out of town. I got to find a film festival that's playing all these classic movies. Go somewhere to see this stuff. So eventually, 13 years later in 2016 comes around. I'd had enough. I was doing it myself. Enough of this. I'm going to be the one putting this, these movies on screen again. So we decided to design this film festival. It worked out the first year. We came back the second year, and now we're back for our third. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. And really, there's nothing like seeing a classic film on the big screen, am I right?
No, definitely.
So what were the first films? Do you remember what they were in the first year?
No, absolutely. The first movie we ever played for the film festival was Nightmare on Elm Street, the original.
Oh, I bet that went over well.
It did. Sold out. It sold out the night of.
Okay.
Again, this year is the first time we sell out ahead of time, so it's great. But all the other years, we usually have tickets left at the door.
Oh, okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street was our first sellout. First night, first sellout. That's pretty good.
That's a good start.
Perfect way to start, actually. And after that, we had Friday the 13th Part 2.
Ah, okay.
And the reason why we did Part 2 is that the first year we were looking at doing all the major icons.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Freddy, Part 2, Friday the 13th would be the first Jason, right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's his mom in the first one. We didn't want to upset anybody at the time, so
right, of course.
we were advertising Jason, so we had to bring Jason. The third movie was Evil Dead,
very nice.
which was a huge shock to me. I did not know how popular Evil Dead was. I thought it was one of those
cult classics.
Cult classics. I love it. Mm-hmm. Does everyone else love it? I'm going to put it on screen. We'll see what happens. Sold out.
Well, it's the same movie as Evil Dead 2, pretty much, right?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2 is somewhat of a remake sequel to it. Gets a little confusing.
Because it's kind of the same thing, but a little bit better budget.
There was a lot of rights issues.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi, they had lost the rights to the first movie. So they had to recreate the first movie. But instead of having 4 people in cabin, they had 2 people in cabin for the first half of the movie. Then it led up to Ash the morning after.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, there was a lot of research. I had to figure that one out on my own.
I guess.
You don't really catch that when you watch it.
Well, no.
That was the third movie that year. And then obviously the most obvious choice first year was Halloween, the original classic.
Yeah.
1978. John Carpenter classic. So also sold out. Great reception that night. So, of course, the next year we'd have to bring it back.
The same film?
No, sorry.
Oh, the festival itself.
Back. Yeah.
Right, okay. Because you haven't done any repeats.
No. That's something I'm thinking of, but it's an idea for the future. We'll see.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of favorites out there, and I want to give everyone a chance that never, they didn't know about our festival the first 2 years.
No, I didn't hear about it until this year.
No, exactly. And it's hugely popular this year. For some reason, my phone doesn't stop. I mean, it's constant one notification after the other.
That's not a bad thing.
It's great. I love it, actually. So I want to eventually give a chance to people who haven't been to the first 2 years to have a chance for them to see Nightmare on Elm Street again.
Yeah.
Halloween. I mean, it's been 3 years now. So in the future, we're looking at maybe bring those back.
A few of the big time classics.
Exactly. I mean, we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre last year.
Okay.
We did The Exorcist last year.
Okay.
Those are movies that also sold out. Mm-hmm. So why not give the people that didn't get a chance to come,
yeah,
their chance to come?
Well, that's right. That's right. Especially because when it first starts out, the word of mouth doesn't really penetrate yet, and then exactly. 3 years later, and I don't know anybody who doesn't know about it.
No.
So
that's great.
That's fantastic.
Even just the initials. Like I went out on a limb, kind of ripped off Toronto International Film Festival with my logo, the NTFF. But I mean, it is what it is.
No, that's right.
And actually, people are starting to recognize just the initials now, which is a huge compliment.
Oh, for sure.
Which is absolutely amazing.
And you got a very popular Facebook page.
Yep.
Do you have a Twitter account?
I don't.
No.
I'm always on Twitter, but not
for
the Facebook, not for the film festival. But
yeah, I don't think that would really.
It's more my personal thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so we had Jaws sold out in advance.
Yes,
which is the first time that's happened.
Sold out 6 hours in advance, which is amazing.
Yeah,
I know it's only 6 hours, but we usually have like 80 tickets left at the door. So
right.
So to have it sell out 6 hours ahead, it was the first time I would actually get the post sold out, which was a great feeling.
Oh, for sure.
And now to do it for Lost Boys on a Wednesday before the movie, like that's absolutely insane. I'm floored. I'm floored by the amount of
Lost Boys is sold out now?
Yes.
Oh.
Completely sold out.
And we're recording this Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this episode comes out Sunday, so the actual event's Friday night.
Yep.
So yeah, okay, so that's good. So
2 days ahead.
2 days ahead, that's awesome.
So we're breaking records.
Yeah. Wow.
Every week. And now I just came back from the cinema. Again, we're Thursday night now. I am nearing on a sellout for The Thing, which is not until next Friday the 19th.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And The Thing is another one of those movies that, it's something I really wanted to see. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure how well it was gonna do, and to see how popular it is and how, people are just running to grab their tickets right away.
Well, yeah.
Incredible.
And John Carpenter's a hugely popular director from the 80s. So.
Yes. And actually I've devoted the entire night to John Carpenter night.
I would love to see They Live on the big screen.
They Live would be excellent.
Yeah. And what's the fourth film that we're having this year?
The fourth film this year is Poltergeist.
It is Poltergeist.
Yes.
Okay, because it was Exorcist last time.
Exorcist last year, Poltergeist this year. It was, to me, other than Lost Boys, it was the only other film that I found gave like a Halloween-y vibe.
Yeah.
If that's a term.
Yeah,
Halloween-y.
I think that works.
So, because it's in the haunted house and that kind of thing, I wanted to do that one on Halloween weekend.
Makes
also
sense.
part of our costume contest.
Oh, you're having a costume
Yes.
contest. Tell me more.
We have prizes that were donated. A lot of our sponsors donated different things. Don't have all the details on that yet. I'm still working on those packages. As much if I can keep getting more packages, I'm going to throw it all in. So
sure.
The more I get, the better it is. But essentially, it's going to be best male and best female costume, as well as a runner-up for both.
Oh, nice.
So four prizes.
That's good.
On a $5 ticket to get it.
You can't beat that.
No, that's pretty good.
That's right.
To pat my own back, but that's pretty good.
you can definitely pat your own back for that. This is incredible. There are a lot of film geeks here in town, more than you knew actually.
No, absolutely.
So that's a surprise for you.
I did not think. I mean, I guess the reason why I wanted to do Jaws was to kind of expand a little bit outside of horror, get the thriller fans in, bring some people in that didn't really know about us, but they know Jaws.
Everybody knows Jaws.
So I'm hoping, having played Jaws first week, word of mouth comes around. They enjoyed their time. They love the trivia. This week we have 80s week for Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Trivia comes back next week. Hopefully the people that came to see Jaws that aren't horror fans will come back.
I think so. Well, it's sold out, so
yeah.
Somebody's coming.
Absolutely.
Let's see, what else did I want to ask you? Where are the ticket locations where people can buy these tickets?
Ticket locations right now actually are Cinema 6, obviously after 6 p.m.
Yeah.
You have to wait for the box office. And Alfie Cigar Store, which is open, I believe, from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
And that's located at 219 3rd Avenue.
Yes, 3rd Avenue. Did not know the exact address.
I'm the mailman for that store, so I know.
Perfect.
So the cinema and Alfie's.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
That's our two main locations. They've been there since day one. So.
Oh, that's good.
Keep going back.
Two big sponsors for the show, and you have all kinds of sponsors, which is awesome, and they're all...
Yeah, they've been absolutely amazing this year. I mean, every other year it's hard because you're just starting off. Companies don't want to give money to Eddie like, who's this guy?
Right, yeah.
So now I've kind of got this little bit of popularity in the event, and then I send an email to a sponsor. They're like, oh yeah, we've heard of your event. Absolutely, we'd love to sponsor you, or would love to donate something towards the prize pack. Well,
okay.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah. And they get their logo on
Exactly.
the film itself before the show.
They get the logo on screen a couple times. They get mentioned by our hosts. I do the best I can to mention them on my Facebook page every time I get a chance.
Yeah.
I ran a series of film recommendations, kind of pairing them with our sponsors for 13 days leading up to the film festival.
Okay, good idea.
I liked it. I got to enjoy all these old movies again. So it was a lot of fun.
And some of the sponsors have been there from the very beginning?
Yes, yeah. We've had, to just name a few, we've had Gold Corp since the beginning, Tony Construction since the beginning, HGS, the list goes on. Foster Jane Restaurant, Mike York, one of the head chefs there, he's been a fan of ours, we'll say, since our very, very beginning. We had a screening of Blair Witch, which wasn't even advertised because we had some, we'll see, wink wink, issues with rights.
Okay.
we did a Blair Witch, what do you call it, food bank fundraiser.
Oh, nice, okay.
And he was there the first night, and he's been to almost every single one, and he's now owns his own restaurant with a few other people at Foster Jane's, and they're back giving us gift certificates to hand out to our, to all the fans that show up and win prizes.
And my buddy Renee won the first one there last week.
That's right.
So...
I was talking to him about that. I was really impressed that he got my American Werewolf in London question. So
he's a big time film nerd, so he knows the things.
Oh, that was great.
So yeah, and I guess so. This is the third one, and you plan on going into the future, like forever, or?
Well, 1 year at a time.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Definitely. The amount of popularity we've had this year, I can't help but think we're going to do it again next year.
I hope so.
So if I can keep selling out, there's no reason for me to stop.
No.
At the end of the day, I want to see all these movies just as much as anybody who comes. So.
Well, yeah, because some of them are 20, 30, 40 years old.
Well, exactly.
And we haven't had a chance to see them on the big screen.
No, exactly. So next year, hopefully, we'll have something a little bit newer. I think it'll be the same style, but we might venture into some newer titles.
Okay.
So we'll see.
And for $5 a ticket, you can't really go wrong.
No, exactly. And when I say new, it's still going to be old.
Right. Well, yeah.
Newer than what we've been doing.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah. So the question did come up to go a little bit further back and do your Frankensteins and your
from the 30s and
Nosferatus.
40s.
But
That would be something else.
I'd love to do it. I'm not sure how I'd be able to keep up with a silent movie at midnight.
Everybody would be asleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea, I mean, I'd love to do those movies. Great movies. Obviously iconic.
For
Universal Monsters, Nosferatu, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'd want to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning watching
a black and white movie.
Yeah, exactly.
After midnight.
Unless it's Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
Well, that's an
but,
exception.
I mean, at least they're talking.
That's right. That's right.
But no, so hopefully next year, hopefully this year keeps going well. No reason to come back next year.
No, that's right. That's awesome. Was there anything that you wanted to throw in that I haven't asked, or did we pretty much cover it?
You pretty much covered it, but I just, again, want to thank everybody. Everybody's obviously been out to Jaws, bought tickets for Lost Boys, looking really, really good for The Thing.
Yeah.
And Poltergeist is also selling well. So for everyone who bought tickets, thank you so much for supporting. To all of our sponsors, again, thanks for supporting. I mean, we can't do it without our sponsors.
No, that's true.
And of course, every single dollar that we raise from our ticket sales goes to charity, which is, I should add that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tell me about that.
So we're supporting Timmins Area Victim Services.
Oh, very good.
So, yeah, it was an obvious choice over the summer. I want to say funny story, but I actually had my car stolen from me. Oh. Yeah, right out of my yard.
Wow, okay.
So when it came time to choosing a charity,
I
was like, you know what? These guys do a lot for people who are victims of crime. Why not?
Well, yeah.
So I always change charity every year. So it seemed like an obvious choice.
So you don't get any of the profits.
Nothing at all.
It all goes to charity.
Exactly.
And that's fantastic. That's a great cause. And people are definitely encouraged to support it and keep coming back. And join the Facebook page at
NTFF Timmins.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for coming by the Rusted Robot headquarters.
Thank you very much again.
Transfer of data is complete.
And what did you think?
So a little editing thing. Sean doesn't send me things ahead of time to listen to. So I have no idea what was said. I have to wait until I get the podcast and then listen through it next week to hear what was said in that conversation.
True.
So don't ask me what did I think, because I'm reacting blind. Because he could say some incredibly racist stuff, and then I'd be like, oh, I agree with everything he says. And then I'm screwed over because you did poor editing.
He didn't say any racist things.
I didn't think he would, but I could be screwed over because I don't know.
Well, you can listen to the episode next week and find out what he said.
Yes. So I will tell you next week what I thought of his interview, because you don't send things ahead.
Right. This is true. Well, I can tell you that I had a great conversation with him. He told me all about Night Terrors Film Fest, how it started, where he plans on taking it, all that kind of good stuff.
It sounds interesting.
It is.
And I'm looking forward to listening to it with the rest of the people. So you people are actually ahead of me right now because you're listening to me rant because you've already heard the interview.
Yes, true. This is my favorite part of the show, where we go behind the curtain and let them know exactly how it works.
Yeah, but no. Normally there's a curtain. You just close what you think is a curtain, but it's just the rings at the top across the bar. There's no curtain here.
Oh, I got that confused again. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It's on my iPad. I could have played it for you before.
Oh, hold on.
Hey, it's Sean from the Soul Forge podcast. Join me and the gang as we guide you through the adventures of living. Topics include sex, loss, joy, and stupid things we've done for love. It's life, the universe, and everything. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the ESO Network, SoulForgePodcast.com, and everywhere else you find podcasts. The Soul Forge Podcast. Let's find out together. And we're back. You just sent your kids off to a birthday party, so we had to pause for a moment.
Yeah. So yeah, you could have showed it to me, and I could have listened to it ahead of time because you have it.
I do have it on the iPad right now.
Yeah. But you didn't.
I totally forgot because I played all the promos for you, but forgot about the interview.
So
it's poor planning on my part, Josh.
Yep.
Very poor planning, and I do apologize for the inconvenience.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do, right?
Well, pretty much nothing.
Exactly.
Because it is what it is.
All right. Moving on then.
.com. Yeah. So we talked about movies. We talked about the Star Trek news. We talked about poor Herschel passing away. You like movies? We discussed that. You like sci-fi movies?
I do.
Did you like Guardians of the Galaxy?
I did like Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a very fun space opera, action comedy
type film.
Heist film, I think, is the best description.
Yeah, that works. That works for me. Well, James Gunn, of course, wrote and directed the things.
Mm-hmm.
But he did some bad tweets years and years ago, so Disney got rid of him. But he's not over yet. He's not done. The Gunn survives because he's going to write the Suicide Squad 2 movie.
So they're making a Suicide Squad 2?
With James Gunn.
Right, so he might do well, right? But
he wrote some good films with Guardians.
But he's walking into a garbage fire.
But he could just reboot the whole thing, because we know he can work with an ensemble cast.
Well, yes, but again, he's walking into a garbage fire because he's not going in for the new Suicide Squad movies. He's going in for a sequel.
Yeah.
So he's already walking into one of the worst parts of that universe, which is the worst universe for superheroes going on right now, including the fact that there's the trauma fill for the Toxic Avenger.
Right.
Because what do we got? We got 1.5 good movies out of that series so far?
Yeah, I think so.
We got Wonder Woman and half of Man of Steel.
Well, according to the article that I found, Gunn will reportedly have a fresh take on the material, and Warner Brothers did not confirm if the film will be a direct sequel to David Ayer's Suicide Squad. The first Suicide Squad followed a team of supervillains who were recruited by the government for a dangerous Black Ops mission in exchange for reduced sentences. And Suicide Squad 2 is one of many projects currently being developed by Warner Brothers and DC Films, including The Batman, The Flash standalone film, Green Lantern Corps, Birds of Prey, Black Adam, Cyborg, Nightwing, Supergirl, New Gods, a Deathstroke film, and a Joker origin movie set outside of the DCEU. So that's what we have for information.
So they got to get their act together. They don't know. They're going all over the place. This is continuity. This isn't continuity. This is standalone. This is kind of standalone, and this is his own thing.
It's a bit confusing.
Yeah. They should just go standalones. Go standalones and throw crossovers where you feel appropriate. Build it up that way. Don't try to build something when you can't build it.
Don't try to build something. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Because maybe James Gunn can turn them around. Maybe it'll be great. We don't know. What do you think? Horrible? Bad? Kind of eh?
I think he's going to do well if history is a judge.
Mm-hmm.
But one of their big problems is while there's lots of studio interference, there's not a studio vision.
Right. That's true.
They don't have somebody giving the vision to the series to make the interference make sense.
There is that.
So I don't. Let's hope he does well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not banking on it.
It remains to be seen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about? We saw. We can't really play it because it's all dark and it's just kind of weird sounds. But we did see the teaser trailer type thing for Aladdin, which comes out May 24th next year.
No, the live action Aladdin, as Disney continues to reproduce their shows in live action. I'm scared.
Why?
Because Aladdin's really good. I really enjoyed Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
And you have one character in there that you cannot. Who's going to stand up in that place? Who is going to be the genie?
Right. I don't know.
Because Robin Williams recorded like 17 hours of ad-lib stuff where he just went off. And they took the best stuff from that and made the genie's lines. He barely had a script.
Because that was his specialty.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember that being great film back in the day.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in 20-odd years.
I've seen it recently. I saw it like 10 years ago.
Yeah?
It still holds up back then.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe you need to do a rewatch with the kids before the new one comes out?
I gotta find a copy of it. That's the problem, though.
Oh, yeah.
Them and their stupid vault.
Oh, right, the vault.
It's hard to get a copy of the thing.
Yes, that's true. There is that.
That's one thing I don't like about Disney, and I'm hoping will be fixed by their streaming service. No more vault.
Right, because then you could just turn it on like you turn on Netflix and find whatever you want, but it's Disney, so all the stuff should be there.
Yeah, because, I want to show my kid this, but no format of that movie exists currently that I can play easily.
That's a problem.
I gotta wait another 3 years for it to come out of the vault.
But you don't know if it's 3 years. Could be 10 years. Could be 7 years.
They come out on a semi-planned pattern.
Okay.
Pretty much, they get a new format and then they slowly roll it out on the new format.
Ah, yes.
Going backwards, I think it is. So, the first movie is one of the last ones to come out.
Right. Yeah, that makes...
And just at the end of that format, the new format rolls in. Oh, look, the new things are coming out of the vault. It's like, God damn it.
Right, so when you have a chance to pick up a copy of something, you pick it up. And that's why when I was at Steel City NerdCon in Sault Ste. Marie at the end of September, I picked up Bambi and Cinderella on Laserdisc. Because I could.
On Laserdisc.
On Laserdisc.
It's 2018. Time to buy the Laserdisc.
You know it. I know they haven't produced Laserdiscs, I think, since 1999. But so what?
I've been actually looking at old formats for things recently.
Is that right?
Yeah. There's a RCA made a disc. It's like a record.
Okay.
It uses a groove like a record. It's a vinyl record. Vinyl and carbon PVC compost combination thing. And it plays a video.
Really?
Using the grooves on a record. But instead of measuring the vibration, it measures the potentiometry of each groove. And has a tiny diamond instead of a needle to pick up the thing.
Wow.
It's insane.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It also bankrupted RCA, and that's why they got outbought by GE.
Oh.
It's because they bet on that when VHS came out.
Oopsie.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, where you can record your own things.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And it was cheaper.
Because you weren't using diamonds?
The media was fairly expensive still. But their original plan was to come out in the 70s. Had they come out in the 70s, they would have been golden.
Well, for sure. Huh. Have you ever come across any of this stuff?
I saw one which got me looking into what the hell these things were. Because my friend had one. And he's like, I have no idea what this thing is. Because it was in with a stack of records.
Ah, okay, because it was the same size and all that?
Well, it's in a plastic container that you put in, so you don't ever touch the actual disc. Because the actual disc, the grooves are super, super, super fine.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, tiny fragment of a diamond to read that groove. So if you ever touch the disc, you're screwing up the disc.
So it's like a disc. Is it in a cartridge?
It's in a cartridge, and you put the cartridge in, and it takes the disc out.
Okay.
Reads the disc, and then when you put it back in, you put the cartridge in, and it slides it back in.
I think I saw a bunch of those at NerdCon actually, with the laser discs. They're slightly bigger, right? And it's like a maybe a half a centimeter width.
Yeah.
And it's like a white plastic and.
Yeah. There's the white plastic were the mono, and the blue ones were the stereo.
Okay. Because they had a bunch of that stuff, and there were some Star Trek ones, and I was like, I don't know what these are. I don't know how I would play them. I didn't buy them. I almost did, but
they're very now. There's those. There's also another one that uses concentric rings of magnetics, like tape. Oh. So that's a different one you got to be aware of.
Okay.
But this one was super weird, and I got looking into different like weird media things. Like in Japan, they had a disc that basically the underside was the same material as a cassette.
Oh.
And it spun around and it read each ring
weird.
as a frame.
Huh.
But it could never take a still of one frame. It was always two frames, so it was always flickering.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very weird.
It sounds very weird.
And they went for like 10 years and produced these. Never heard of them before.
Right, yeah.
There's a bunch of weird media out there that they got started and like, hey, look at this!
Yeah, they were trying all kinds of different things back then.
And nobody got it. Crap. And they just stopped.
Well, yeah, if nobody's buying this stuff, you can't keep making it.
Yeah, true, but it's neat to see the different ideas that came out.
It'd be kind of fun to have a museum of obsolete technology. It's kind of like my house.
It wasn't even obsolete, because obsolete means that it was popular at one point. It's more failed. Because it gets going and then it just falters and dies.
HD DVD.
Exactly. It tried to hit the market, and it didn't really penetrate the market, and it died.
That's it.
That's failed rather than obsolete, because it's still a viable format in that it is comparable to modern formats.
Right, yes.
So it was always comparable at the time, so it failed for being just off.
It's like Beta versus VHS.
Exactly. Yeah. Beta was actually a better
right
quality-wise, but you had limited run on it.
Yeah, and it all depends on which company supports which one, and that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's your Rusted Robot look at old time technology.
Yep.
I hope you had a good lesson right there. We don't really know too much about it, but...
Yep. All right, moving on.
All right, transitioning from obsolete technology and things nobody asked for. Production is set to begin in June of next year for World blah blah blah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly. World War Z or World War Z #2. It's going to have Brad Pitt reprising his role, and I guess we'll see it sometime after June of next year.
I really like the book.
The book was amazing, and the movie was nothing like it.
The book was amazing. The book is a great way of telling story. The movie was terrible.
It made $540 million worldwide on a production budget of $190 million. So Paramount, of course, was going to make a sequel, but it's been years since the first one came out.
Because, it got some popularity, but I hated it.
I was very disappointed that it wasn't anything like the book. They just took the name.
Yeah, they could have called it anything else,
and they should.
It would have been an okay zombie film.
Yeah,
not even that good because, if you're terminally ill, they leave you alone, and the speed of the change was insane, and
yeah. So there were some elements from it, but so little. It was nothing like going around interviewing people, which would have been amazing. But anyway, that comes out later.
And it didn't have the book had a sense of story.
Yes.
Arcs within arcs, and it had an overall arching theme to each section of the book.
Mm-hmm.
This was terrible. So I'm not looking forward to this one. I didn't like the other one, so I don't think I'm going to like this one.
Yeah, hard to really say. And the zombie genre is so crowded right now. That's just another film. Really.
Well, it's not that bad right now. It has died back.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lull.
But
for a time
you still need to stand out.
Yeah.
And what else are you going to do with it?
Not a clue. There's no story. They're working on the script. They didn't say anything about what the story entails in the article that I read.
They're announcing things too soon. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're making this movie. Great. What's it about? We don't know yet. We haven't written it.
But guess what day it's coming out? We've already got a date. We just don't have a director, a star, a cast, a film, a script, anything. But it's coming out this day.
Yeah.
You can take that to the bank.
That's worked out so well for other people.
Right? Yeah, so good.
Well, let's throw a time limit on something that we don't understand.
Yeah. Are you talking about Star Trek stuff?
I didn't say anything about it.
But I can see that twinkle in your eye. Oh, boy. Speaking of twinkles and stuff, the stars have twinkles.
That is a terrible transition.
I know. I'm really stretching here. But
I'd go more like the speaking about movies, things that have blown up in their face. I went with that one. That would have worked better.
Well, now you tell me.
Yeah. All right. So this is news segment.
We haven't had a scientific news segment in
a while. But this is a good one. Well, not good, but it is one that I think is important.
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about it. Why don't you tell me?
Recently, a launch of the Soyuz rocket that goes to resupply the ISS and bring up new cosmonauts and astronauts. Mm-hmm. They had problems.
Uh-oh.
So much so that during the launch, they decided, screw this, we're aborting, and they aborted the mission.
Oh, no.
And cosmonaut...
Can you say the name?
Let me try.
This used to be my favorite part.
So, U.S. astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexei Ovinshin...
That's not too bad.
Had to bail out, and they used a ballistic descent mode, which is basically get them out of there and get them back to the ground as fast as possible mode.
Was the thing already in the air?
Yeah.
Oh, so they'd already launched?
They already launched, and it's like, oh crap, boom, abort.
Oh, wow.
And they dropped the capsule, and they just plummeted to Earth on a ballistic path.
And what happened to the rocket?
It blew up.
Real good.
Well, after that, they don't want it to just keep going up.
Okay, yeah.
Because then it's on an unstable trajectory.
Yeah.
Because now it's all weight balance is thrown off, and it's already had problems, so they aborted. So once they were clear, they detonated it, so there's no...
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds expensive.
It is. So they came back to Earth about 20 kilometers. This is the fun part.
Okay.
Away from Dzhezkazgan of Kazakhstan. That is written DZHEZKAZGAN.
Let me see. Where is it? I would call it Gun.
Yeah,
Whatever that means.
yeah. So they landed about 20 kilometers away from there.
Okay.
The Soyuz has had a couple accidents in the past that Russia has officially said they had. The first one was in August of 1983 when a capsule pulled away from the booster, and they had to abort that one. And then one mishap over Mongolia in 1975, according to CBS News. This is really pushing like the Americans need to get their own space program back.
Yeah, they do.
Instead of relying on the Russians. Now, they've done a good job. The Soyuz is a pretty sturdy workhorse.
Yeah.
But you can't rely on somebody else's space program.
You shouldn't.
And say you have a space program.
Right. Come on, Elon, let's get going here.
So they're waiting for Boeing and SpaceX to get their rocket program up to release. The big problem is our rockets, like they used to build the Atlas rocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got manned to the moon.
Yeah.
Do you know they can't rebuild them?
Well, how come?
Because each rocket motor had to be specially adjusted by people that used a technique that has not been used for years and years, and nobody knows how to do it anymore.
Oh, no.
So they can't actually remake the engines because it's a technique that can't be used.
And all those people are dead.
Each engine was modified specifically and adjusted finicky, like, oh, I gotta move this over a millimeter, and I gotta move that over a millimeter, and I gotta weld this in this specific weird way. Mm-hmm. That's why we can't reproduce the rockets that got us to the moon, because each one was an artisan as well as a scientific achievement.
Craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the story at least has a somewhat happy ending. They blew up the rocket real good, lost whatever was in there, but we don't have any dead astronauts.
No dead astronauts, no dead cosmonauts.
Yeah.
So we're good on that front.
That's not bad.
Always good to get them back on the ground.
Yes.
Do you know nobody's ever died in space?
Right, because when the Challenger went up, it wasn't in space yet.
No.
Columbia also blew up real good.
Columbia blew up in the atmosphere.
In the atmosphere.
Nobody's ever died in space. We've died getting to space.
Yeah.
We've died coming back from space.
Yeah.
We have never died in space. The closest we got that we know of is Apollo 13.
Right.
Which got real close.
Yeah.
They skirted that line.
And who knows? Maybe there's stuff we don't know about, because there always is. But
the Americans one, we know they're too public about it. But early Russian experiments could have had failures.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because they didn't announce their failures as much.
Well, no.
They announced their successes.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to win the Cold War.
Exactly.
And the space race and all that good stuff.
So they may have lost somebody in space, but nobody officially has ever died in space.
Officially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you will be the first when we launch the rocket next year.
Ooh, I can't wait.
I mean...
Did you just give away our secret?
No.
You better not have. Hey, why don't, before we end the podcast, why don't you tell me about what you thought about Doctor Who?
All right, so the new episodes came out just after we recorded last week.
Yes.
I don't like it.
No?
No.
I see. I found the story was a bit meh. I thought she did pretty well.
So let's deal with this in descending order.
Okay.
The story was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those filler episodes that I usually skip, except it's her first appearance.
Yes, after 2 years.
Yeah,
of being in production.
So the new Doctor episodes are always rough because they got to introduce the new Doctor.
Yeah.
Some are good, the 11th Hour. Some are not so good. Rose. So and like Christmas Invasion, right. Breath was okay.
So we know for a fact that the new Doctor episode, the introduction, is usually pretty bad.
They're rough.
Okay.
They focus more on the Doctor, and when they do, they're better.
Mm-hmm.
The more they focus on the companions, the less they are.
Yeah, this was more of a companion thing with the Doctor shoehorned in, I found.
Yeah, this particularly because like they're introducing a new companion and a new Doctor.
Yeah.
Every time they do that, it's either the worst or the best. Because Rose, pretty bad. This one, pretty bad. The 11th Hour, that one they worked out really well.
Who was in that?
That was Amy and Rory and the Doctor.
So Matt Smith.
Yeah. So that one was good. But the other ones, Alright, so that's bad. Now we have the new companions. There's too many.
There were so many. I don't know who's going to actually pick for the main guys.
Well, okay, spoilers in a couple seconds here. So you know there's spoilers coming. Spoilers are coming. Alright, spoilers. At the very end of the episode, the Doctor tries to teleport away to where her TARDIS is.
Yes. Oh, yes, and they all ended up in space.
And they all ended up in space.
Right, yes.
So there's 3 companions.
There were, yes. That's right.
None of them are a good companion. Let's start with the grandson. Really? Trying to learn to ride a bike? That was very conceited.
That was weird.
Yeah. Particularly because he's like in his early 20s.
Well, he's got a balance issue.
Yeah, you know what? You work on that in other ways. I don't know. With therapy, physiotherapy, under supervision. Because the NHS is a free system like Canada where you can get physical therapy under the NHS to help with that kind of thing.
He wasn't even wearing a helmet.
No. That's bad. On a cliff's edge.
Yeah.
Like, really? You couldn't pick a better spot? All right.
Yeah.
The young cop, very indecisive and can't figure out what she's doing, and is a terrible police officer. Like, the worst. Like, she walks away from 2 different crime scenes and doesn't arrest the Doctor when she just, I fell through here, I'm in charge, No, you're under arrest.
Yeah, it was a bit weird.
You're acting really weird, and things are going crazy, and now you're bossing people around. You are being detained for further questioning.
There were definitely some gaps in logic when you point them out.
Yeah. The step-grandfather, very, I don't want to be here, we're not doing this, why are we doing this? Very reluctant.
Yeah.
Alright, enough. How are we going to have adventures in space and time with, this is dangerous, we've got to stay here, let's go home, make a cup of tea. Like, that's not the adventures of space and time. Having that character occasionally, like early Rory, where he was like, no, stop it, would be fine. But you can't have him running as an every week companion.
Yeah, he can't be central to the show.
That would drive people away.
Good.
The only good companion
Yeah.
was the grandma.
Who died?
She was an older companion. She had everything. She had the drive. Is it weird that I'm excited about this? All the stuff that would have been like, that's a companion.
Yes.
She's dead.
Why didn't you tell me there was going to be spoilers before we started talking about this, Josh? But the good part is they have a nice interracial cast with a variety of different people. That's cool.
That didn't even come into it.
No.
Right?
It just was what it was.
See, that's how you do a good interracial cast.
Yep.
Where like, oh yeah, you're right, it is interracial. Because I forgot about that.
Exactly.
I was more annoyed by the terrible policemanship of the policewoman and the dour grandfather, pseudo-grandfather.
Step-grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And like, the weirdness of the guy. They should have made him a teenager. They should have made him younger.
I thought so.
But then he couldn't be friends with the police officer.
Right.
Because they had to be high school friends.
Yes.
And then, so that there's this built-in relationship that the Doctor's glomming onto. And like, you're building a weird dichotomy where the Doctor is around this nucleus rather than being the nucleus of the show.
Right.
Who it's named after.
Yeah. So, we'll have to see how this goes.
Now, down to the Doctor.
Uh-huh.
I think the writers tried too hard.
You think so?
I do. I think they tried really hard to be like, look, she can do everything all the other doctors did.
Yeah.
She's just like all the other doctors. She's just like them. You can't tell any difference between all the doctors. It's a problem. Each doctor's different.
She seemed a lot like Matt Smith, I found.
She is very Matt Smith, Tennant.
Yeah.
They ride those lines mostly, but she has some of all of it. And, like, yeah, okay, we know that getting to know the new Doctor is always rough, but you gotta make them their own thing.
I think we have to wait for the next few episodes to see what direction it goes.
So it wasn't bad enough that I'm going to rage quit on it.
No, that's good.
Yeah, it is not a Star Trek Discovery. So I'm going to give it a few more.
Yeah.
And if the writing does not improve very quickly, I'm going to be very upset. That's the thing. If you can give me a good story in the next 2 or 3 episodes that goes, that's who she is as the Doctor.
Right, she needs to lock down her arc.
What she portrayed from the script, she did a good job. She had the energy. I think she was a little bit too high energy, but that's what they wrote. So I think her acting was good.
Her acting was top-notch.
But she was handed not good.
A lackluster script.
So she did what she could with it. I got no problem with her acting so far.
Yeah.
But if they can't figure out her writing...
Yeah, they gotta lock down her personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Okay. That makes sense. You got anything else?
No, what do you think about it?
I agree with you. I thought she did a great job in her acting abilities, and the story was kind of meh. And, too many companions. Yeah, and they shouldn't have got rid of the grandma. Everything you said was accurate. I can't argue with you on this one.
So how long do you think that we're going to have to wait until we actually get to see the TARDIS?
I'm thinking next episode. Because they're floating in space dying, so something has to pick them up. Maybe some Vogons, I don't know.
Yeah, so I really hope they don't do this whole, I gotta find my TARDIS and we're gonna jump around from place to place looking for the TARDIS.
Yeah, that'll be annoying. I don't like those kind of shows.
Because they did that in the 80s, 70s or 80s for the Doctor, where, your TARDIS is locked down, you can't go anywhere.
Right, yes.
Where it was, we're going to take away the thing that makes the show cool about adventures in time and space and base it in London all the time.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that again.
All right, so it'll be on Sunday night, which is the same day this episode comes out. So, very exciting. Until next time, this has been Sean and Josh and the Rusted Robot Podcast. Stay tuned for the end credits. They've changed, so you're going to make sure you want to listen to those. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, love is in the air, but so is the flu. Wash your hands. You have been listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. To contact the show, email therustedrobot@gmail.com or tweet us at therustedrobot. Join the Facebook page and group and visit the website at therustedrobot.podbean.com. The Rusted Robot Podcast was put together by Sean and Josh and the Rusty crew. Please remember to check out our other show, the Soulforge Podcast. Visit Jump City Comics in the 101 Mall and leave a glowing review in your chosen podcast app. Thank you and have a geeky day.
The Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
Greetings, Starfighters. It's Sean from the Rusted Robot Podcast. Join me and the Rusty crew as we break down the latest geeky movie trailers, talk about TV, comics, toys, games, casting news, and all things nerdy. Find us on all your favorite podcast apps, the ESO Network, and at therustedrobot.podbean.com. The Rusted Robot Podcast, your source for geek since 2014.
The Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.